I'm going to a barbecue and I always end up overeating, and I find it's impossible to hit my nutritional goals.
It is so easy just to go after, start with the chips, and then there's different apps, and then there's another thing, and then next thing you know, you're a couple thousand calories deep in multiple drinks, and you're like, why did I do all that?
You think, today's shot, I may as well enjoy myself. I'll get back to it tomorrow. And then that's that all or nothing mentality.
I've heard coaches literally say bananas are gonna make you fat. This is just crazy.
I assure you that for any event, any situation, you can find a way to win. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Fit, Healthy, and most of all, Happy podcast. I'm your coach and host, Josh, here with
His co-host and co-coach, KG, and I'm in the house.
Today, we're going to be talking about the truth about fruit, how to stop destroying your progress at social summer events, because we know they're coming. Finally, summer is officially here. This feels so good. I feel like we've been really building up summer for the last few months, and it's just so nice to have it here, but we're really excited for that question in particular. But also we're going to be covering how to know if you're pushing yourself enough and some tips to actually help you push yourself more in your workout. So we have a jam-packed episode. It's going to be absolutely amazing. Sit back, relax, grab a coffee if it's not super late at night, and let's jump into today's episode with our primary first question out of the mailbag. And that is, I'm going to a barbecue and I always end up overeating, and I find it's impossible to hit my nutritional goals. What tips do you have to navigate this and stay on track all summer?
Honestly, this question is so fitting, especially for this time of the year, and especially if you're super social like myself. There's a lot of them. I've had some people reaching out for multiple barbecues throughout the year. People are planning it. I'm getting excited, get to hang out with a lot of great people, and I'm looking forward to it instead of dreading it. And the main reason is because I know how to approach it. I know my mindset, and I know how to make it work and fit it within my day. The first thing I will say is going in with a plan, especially when you know the type of people that are there. Some friends will have different drinks involved. Some of them, will tell you that they're going to do steaks. Whatever the case is, I always try to save a good amount of calories to the point where I'm not starving. And this is very important because when you show up to a place and you are absolutely starving and ravenous, and there are 17 different appetizers out and there's just a lot of different garbage, it is so easy to just cave and to just go down that path of having 800 calories of just nonsense even before the barbecue started or the foods actually come out. So I always go in with a plan. I know, hey, you know what? There's going to be a steak. My friend told me there'll be a nice side that I'm looking forward to, and that's awesome. Maybe I'll bring something myself as well. That's another thing I utilize. But simply going in with the mindset with different rules you have in place, different things that you're going to do, and knowing your, limits and where you want to kind of go with it is the best and easiest thing, because it is so easy just to go after, start with the chips, and then there's different apps, and then there's another thing, and then next thing you know, you're a couple thousand calories deep in multiple drinks, and you're like, why did I do all that? So if you go in with a plan, it is so helpful.
For me, it's always about the plan. And we always talk a lot about being prepared. And if you don't have a plan, I think you're just the whim of the event. And I think one of the worst things and the biggest mistake people make that Kyle had mentioned is going overly hungry, saying I'm going to save a ton of calories, eating nothing all day. And then that greasy hot dog smells extra good. It's hard just to eat 1, 2, or 3. You got to have 10. Then before you know it, people are handing you things. You're grabbing that. You start snacking. You don't know why you're doing it or how you're doing it. And you think, today's shot, I may as well enjoy myself. I'll get back to it tomorrow. And then that's that all or nothing mentality. So I find one of the easiest ways to actually go to these events and have success is to remove that all or nothing mentality. Instead of saying I either need to be perfect or I need to be horrible, just say how can I find what's appropriate for me? So if you have goals, for myself, I'm looking to diet, I'm looking to shred a little bit more, so I'm in my cut. So for me, my goal would be to go to this barbecue to hit my calories and to enjoy myself with hitting that number. So what that will mean for me is I never have things that are off limits. I will eat whatever I want. I'll have anything at any time. I don't believe in demonizing foods. And of course, some foods are just bad for you. I'm not going to go and tell you that a really greasy sausage is going to be super beneficial towards your goals. But if that's something you love and you can fit in your calories, I say power to you. But at the same time, I need to be realistic. If I'm having something like that and I'm having this more caloric item, it's going to be very high in fat. It's not going to be the best macros. It's not going to satiate me very much. I might have to pass on having the desserts that are there. I might have to choose intelligently. I might say, hey, I'm not drinking, but I'm going to enjoy. I'm going to eat a ton of meat. I'm going to fit it in. I'm going to do my best, and I'm going to be reasonable about it. And I think for me, that's me enjoying it how I would like to enjoy it. Whereas for yourself, you might say, okay, well, I don't care about barbecue food so much. I'm actually not big into burgers, hot dogs, steaks, whatever. It's not my thing. Like, I don't care. I'll just eat, like, I'll pre-eat a chicken beforehand and then I'll go there. But I do want to socially have a couple drinks. I do want to be able to have some snacks, or I have a friend who makes really good cupcakes and it's someone's birthday. So I want to have this cupcake. That's totally okay. Like, it'll look entirely different for everyone. I just think it's that all or nothing where it's, I'm at this barbecue, I need to do everything under the sun. I need to completely overdo it. Whereas instead with some plan, you can kind of build around it, and you can also work that plan before the event. So Kyle had mentioned, for myself, I know I like to eat a lot. I know I like big quantities, and a lot of the time too, it's like kind of rude to ask someone to make you triple the portion of everyone else. So even for me, sometimes, as ridiculous as it is, I'll pre-eat before an event. So I'll have a protein shake. I'll literally just crush like a chicken breast. So I'm getting a ton of protein, no carbs, no fats. And that'll open up a lot of calories for me, where maybe I can have a burger, even if it's horrible macros and it's not ones I've brought. But additionally, like, depending on how close your friends are, like maybe not with people you don't know. But I love Kyle's point of saying, like, hey, I'm going to bring some turkey burgers. Like, can you just throw these on for me? I really like them. They're good macros. Like, I'll share with all you guys. Like, some good buddies, it wouldn't be a weird thing. It might be weirder if it's the first time you're meeting your in-laws, you just started dating someone, and you say, I don't want your burgers, here are mine. So you gotta work with your situation that's there. But I assure you that for any event, any situation, you can find a way to win.
And especially, it really just comes down to your values. And I think that's where so many people don't actually spend time thinking about it. So for me, it's funny, like, I love protein. And especially when it comes to barbecues, I am obsessed with something like a burger or a steak or chicken. Like, to me, there's just nothing better. So if I had a friend who's just, I know he's like, he went to the butcher and he's like telling me I'm super pumped about this. I'm like, dude, I'm like saving everything for this. I'm really excited about it. So if I could have the chance to have one of the nice steaks with a burger and like some side chicken that he was like, it's perfectly marinated, it's beautiful, I'm like, I'm happy. I'm a happy man. So I'm going to know that I'm probably going to have that stuff. And then like the potato salad and the salt and vinegar chips, which I could have like 2,000 calories of if I started having them. I'm going to have to say no to all those things. I might have like one low calorie drink, but like, I'm going to save the bulk of it for what I value. And I know that I value that stuff. And I know that I get excited for it. And I know that it's just, for me, it's a great time. And that's what I really appreciate. And I can still comfortably hit my goals if I make that decision. Whereas once again, people will just go in and be like, I value everything. Like, macaroni salad, if you want to have it, that's cool. That's not exactly what's going to be my choice, because it could be 500 calories and just like no protein, which once again, you can find a way to have a little bit of it. But I think it's really important to just go in with that plan, understand your values, and of course, still have a great time. Like, it doesn't have to be a point where you feel like you can't have anything, you're restrictive. But at the same time, when you are social, when you are on the go, when you're always navigating these things, the day that you just let loose of just like, oh, it's just one day, then it could be the entire summer of like overeating every day. Every time there's a weekend festivity, let's say you have 2 or 3 of them throughout the weekend, and there's a birthday party and there's a cottage day and then this and that, then next thing you know, you've gained 10 pounds over the summer and it compounds and you're wondering, why aren't I happy, right? So I just think it's about making the right choices within reason, of course, going with the plan, understanding your values, and having a great time. To me, that is the best way to approach it, and it is 100% doable for every single one of you.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people will say, well, that's awesome, you can do that, but that sounds miserable. Like, for me, I want it all. I want to enjoy it all. I want to have all this. And like, a harsh reality is, like, unfortunately, you can't really, like, that's kind of life for you, right? Like, there's always some sacrifice. There needs to be some push and pull, and you can absolutely do that, but you need to be very controlled. And I think an additional tip for me is portioning, right? Like I mentioned, I struggle with doing massive portions. I really overestimate how hungry I'll be, and I got in the bad habit of really over ordering. Even yesterday, I wanted like a salad with chicken and a pita wrap, and Kyle's like, just have the salad and we can try some later. I'm like, okay, that was wise. That was good advice. I needed that, because when I'm hungry, like, it's like when you're mad and you see red. For me, I just see food and I want to eat a ton of it. So I think even with pacing yourself is a great tool. Like, and say, I'm going to go to this barbecue. I'm going to enjoy a burger. I'm currently trying to lose weight. I'm cutting. I'd love to have 3 burgers. I'd love to have a burger and 2 hot dogs. I'm going to have 1 burger. I'm going to fit it in. I'm going to enjoy it. I'm going to take a break. I'm going to drink some water after. It's going to be okay. Right. So I think even remembering the first few bites will taste the same as the next 100, because I think where people have a hard time is also cutting themselves off or overeating portions, or even drinks. Like, if you want to go to a barbecue and have a few social drinks, you can have a drink and then have a break with a the water, have a second drink. And like, instead of having 20 drinks, you could have 2 drinks, still have a good time, have a burger, hit your goals, and feel good that next day. And like Kyle mentioned as well, depending on where you're at in your journey, you can have an intentional day. If it's a special barbecue and you're like, I'm okay reasonably going over my calories, I'm eating 2,800 currently, and I want to have a little bit more of a fun day, I could go up to like 3,500, and that would minimally affect my progress. That won't be a huge blip in my cut. Of course, it'll set me back a few days, but if I'm okay with that and I don't feel that it will ruin the buy-in of my cut, and like Kyle said, where this becomes a problem is if you're doing this every week. If every single week there's something and I can't succeed because someone brought like chips after a hockey game, or I can't succeed because someone brought donuts into work, like, you're going to need to find ways to win these situations. And especially when you're in a deficit, when you're a cut, it will require more sacrifice. If you're maintaining, like at my maintenance, usually I am like 3,400 cals, I can enjoy kind of what I want. I can still have a very good time. Like, truth be told, me eating past that would be me overindulging anyways, and I won't feel the best because of it. So that's where I just think you need to self-reflect and additionally find your holes. Like, where do you go wrong? Where do things really get off track for you? Is it that if you drink at these events, you just end up eating anything and everything? Is it that when you go starving to an event, you can't control yourself and you break down every time? For me, some of my personal holes, like chips and things, like if I go and I have a chip, I will end up eating the whole bowl. I'm horrible with that. I'm aware of that. Like, chips are so good, they're so tempting. So for myself, I will just make a point to avoid them. I'm not going to enjoy them the same anyways. There's other things I value more. Sweets are okay to me, but they're kind of meh. Like, I would take a second burger over sweets. So I pick and choose what's most realistic for me. And like I said, in a perfect world, you could do everything you wanted to do all the time, but it won't be a rewarding life. I think in life, a lot of reward comes from challenge anyways, because you think in your day you'd want to sleep in, you'd want to see no one, you'd want to just turn on a TV while scrolling Instagram, while getting a massage. Like, you'd actually feel horrible. You think you'd feel good over a few days, but like, there's something nice about getting stuff done in your day, having challenge, overcoming things, finding solutions. And I think very much eating is the same way. And if you can reorientate your attitude towards it, and you can start to say, how is this a challenge? I can still win, I can still feel great, I can still have success, and still have a good time with my friends, because you absolutely can. And that's a big tenet of our coaching program. And that's something we really, really push. And I'm jumping ahead a bit here, but for a client shout out, we have my client, Jeremy. He absolutely killed it. And he is our challenge winner. He lost over 10 pounds in the challenge. We actually started bringing back up his calories a little bit at the end. And he has succeeded doing this as a father of 2. He also has his wife in the program who is a runner up, and she is killing it as well. So a big shout out there. And what I love about this is they actually hosted a huge party, and they were able to have a great time. They were able to have friends over. They were able to still win, and they were sticking to the challenge parameters. Additionally, they went on a family vacation. They found a way to win. And I think too, one thing I really said to them is like, just finding ways where you can balance both, where you can still have success. And when you are in a cut, there's a buy-in. It's very easy to have that half in, half out mentality where half of your body is cold, half of your body is warm. And it puts you in a weird place because it makes you wanting to be non-committal to both. And I think we've all been there. And that's where, like, you want to take your goals seriously, and you want to be careful with these intentional days because they can have a place. But this is why I'm also not a fan of cheat meals, because I believe fitness really should be intertwined in your life, not on top of it. And obviously this is a big tenet of this program, but this attitude in a whole is how, like, to us, summer isn't a big deal. So there's kind of my ramble, my rant, and the client shout out. And this challenge was amazing. I just want to say, like, this was the most amount of results we've seen. It's just been absolutely crazy. I'm so proud of all my clients for challenging themselves for a month into summer. It's just crazy seeing abs everywhere and people so shredded and people feeling amazing in our program. Like, just the amount of wins that have been coming in has been overwhelming.
Yeah, and it's awesome. Like, as we're going into summer, obviously a lot of our clients, and they've all gotten ready for it, but it's all about that maintenance. It's about that progress going forward. It's about how to navigate times where you would typically go backwards. And I just had one thing to add on as to, like, Josh's talk, because the intentional day is important, but even what's great about that, and I was thinking about it, like, this year, every year for the last 5 years, my family's hosted a barbecue. I've made a mistake in the past. I'd say 2 years ago, I went in, I was starving myself, I was saving all the calories. Someone came up with this dip that it's like there's chicken in it, but it's a lot of, like, extra stuff. Like, it's kind of like, I don't know, like blue cheese or something, like, crazy, where it's just so good. And I remember one time where I just started with that. I went probably 700 calories deep with stuff. Like, this was a couple years ago. and then it just kind of started the habit of, okay, I'm going to do this and then that. And then, you drive home and I was just like, I'm feeling horrible. I'm feeling sluggish. I'm like, why did I do all that? And so even what's funny is some people with like cheat days or intentional days, they go down this path of just like, oh, well, I've started here. Let's just keep it going. So for my barbecues and even what I have planned, because I already, they always give us the itinerary. Hey, here's what we're having. Here's the theme. I know my uncle's got like a slow cooker. So he'll do like briskets, pulled pork, ribs, and all this stuff that I'm like, once again, I like the meat stuff. So I know that I probably will be slightly over. It's all good, but it's still not the mentality of like, oh, because I'm going to be a little over, there's some higher fat stuff, I'm going to enjoy this. I'm going to just go and have all the desserts and have all the appetizers and have all the drinks. I always turn down the drinks. I will only have a diet beverage and then maybe a sparkling water there. It's just, to me, once again, that extra stuff isn't worth it. But it's just really that mentality of like going in with that plan, knowing exactly the situation. And yeah, like even the intentional days, they definitely have its place. Like I will, incorporate a few within the year, but it's like, if it's like every weekend, like some people will try to do, or every day, it's just about navigating so you still see long-term results. And this is how, in my opinion, I've been able to maintain a solid physique that I'm proud of. And then even all of our clients who have been able to navigate social situations and everything like that. So that's my last talk on it. And hopefully that helps you out.
Yeah, you really shouldn't be feeling miserable about you eating or you going to a barbecue, having a good time with friends. Like it shouldn't stress you out. Like you should 100% be able to navigate that and have a plan. I love helping my clients with this. And once again, like if you're feeling like this cycle of misery or feeling like you need to break your chains and just be able to enjoy eating what you want to eat, and like then you go over and then you feel bad about it and then you don't fit in your pants, like it's just not a way to live. Like, don't do that to yourself. Like, take these tips to heart, do some self-reflection, or even better, hire us. Like, we will work through this with you. We will work through every event with you. We will help you decide, like, should we do an intentional day? What's our plan of attack? How well do we know these people? Here are some solutions. Like, we like to give general solutions, and obviously we're pretty good at navigating it now. Where like, even in the past, we've said like, okay, like how many calories should I save? Like, what kind of barbecue is this? Is this like chicken breast, or is this like sausage and like fatty steak and different things? Because like, you can always find a way, right? And I think also too, it's easier if your circle's fitter because there'll be better options. But like Kyle said, sometimes you're with different groups or different family members, and they might have foods that are very different and a lot harder to navigate. One thing I always tell my clients, which is an amazing piece of advice though too, we're ultimately in control of what we put in our mouth. I think for most of us, we're not being fed by many people. I would like to hope not. With anyone listening to this podcast, maybe there's someone who is still being fed who really loves this podcast. I'd love to meet you. That would be an interesting podcast to tune into, but I guess you're getting ahead. But you can always control the portion. If that dip, Kyle's like, this dip slaps, I look forward to this, it's the best, it's 500 calories, it is what it is. That's his intention, that's his choice. And like you said, in that day, he can find a position of balance and not go all in. Or he could say, it comes at the cost of other things that I really love, I'm just going to skip out. Like it's the personal decision, right? And I think that's where we're all different. And you shouldn't just like, some people will say like, never eat ice cream, it's the worst, the macros suck, it's not building you up. And like, it just might not be realistic. Like if you enjoy food, that's why we like 80-20, 80% whole, hearty, good foods, 20% a little bit more fun. Maybe if you go to these events and you save more calories and it's more 50-50 one day, but the bulk of your days are 80-20, like you're going to be in a good place. And I think for summer, you can downplay how bad blowing out these one days can be, because in summer there's like always something, right? You're at a cottage, you're at a barbecue, you're at a ball game, whatever it is, and you can easily like put on like 10-20 pounds in the summer, and that's where you should be feeling your best and looking your best and moving the most. So hopefully you take this to heart, because we're really passionate about it. I know I kind of jumped out of order with the podcast. I guess you only know that if you've been around, you've been tuning in a lot, but we'll jump back, we'll go full circle back towards our quotes. And I'm going to start with mine, and I think this piggybacks on what I was just saying perfectly. And this was Andy Frisella. I was watching a video of his. It was just like an hour of him ranting. He has like a supplement company, and he posts like motivational, really aggressive videos. But I love what he said here. And it was, inventory your actions, and I guarantee you that'll equal what you're getting. And I was talking to Kyle about this. I feel like so many of us feel like we're so hard done by, or like we're not getting the results we deserve. But if you inventory your actions, right? Like if you say, why am I not losing weight, Coach Josh? I'm doing everything right. And you inventory your actions, I look back, and every Saturday you barbecue with your friends, and every Saturday you have 6 beers, you go over calories by 2,000, you skip the gym twice a week. Like, your physique is a direct reflection of what you've done. Unless you have a very specific like medical ailment or something, that's a different story. But I think for most of us, like for me, my physique is a direct representation of what I've eaten, how I've slept, how I've trained. And I think if we want more, there's the nexus isn't drawn there between where you are now and where you think you should be. Your actions are not where they need to be. You're doing something wrong, and we can downplay it. We're gonna we're always gonna in our mind reflect more positively. We're gonna have rose tinted glasses. We're gonna say, no, I'm actually doing really, really good. Like a deficit just doesn't work for me. But then you look at it, and if you're over your calories every Saturday, Sunday, there's a reason you're not losing weight. There's a reason you're not lean. If you say you train hard in the gym, but I see you're skipping the gym multiple days in the week, or you're just on your phone the whole time, that's why you're not seeing results. So I think like this is a little like black and white, and it's a little intense, but I do think it's a great point, because even in rereading Atomic Habits as well, it was something we were doing for the challenge with our clients. He mentioned even like listing out everything you do in a day and saying whether it's a negative thing, a neutral thing, or a positive thing. And I think it is good to reflect and say like, what actually is pushing me forward? What's taking me away from my goals? And in your week, just the same for your physique. And since it's fit, healthy, happy, like what things are actually making you happier or less happy? What things are actually making you fitter or less fit, right? So like the more, and what things are making you healthier or less healthy? And I think the more you can inventory that and say like, am I living in congruency to how I should be to get to where I want to? That's where the results become insane, because that's where you're like being honest with yourself about it. And I think for a lot of us, we won't be honest, and then we'll be disappointed with where we're at, and then we'll blame other things when indeed like it is something we need to have a harsh reflection on. So I do want to challenge you with that. I thought this quote was awesome, and it's something I've been thinking about.
Yeah, you always get what you give, right? And that's just the truth. Like whatever position you're in, whatever's going on, whether you are someone who's like, hey, you know, I've gotten to this point in my journey and I need to make change. Like the point that you're at currently is due to those actions, those habits, everything that's taken place. And that doesn't mean that you're a bad person. It doesn't mean that you should beat yourself up. But where you're at now, it can absolutely be changed. And it's kind of great. It fits within my quote that I came across this morning, which I wanted to jump into as well. So growth isn't about adding more. It's about letting go of what no longer serves the person you're becoming. And so I heard as well, additionally, you have to give something up. It's not that you need to add something. And then this was from the gentleman speaking. He said, I've never been able to go from here to there without giving up something that got me here. So his point was simply that oftentimes we feel like we need to do all this extra stuff. We need to add this and, you know, and change this and just like overload a lot. But oftentimes it's just those things that have got to us to where we're at. If there's something that we know we need to change or we're unhappy with, I've got some things I want to work on and improve on. But even like just in general, if let's say you've been consistently overeating or your social events, like you don't have to really just make these drastic changes. You just have to avoid the overeating. If you're someone who your sleep is really bad and you've been scrolling and doing all this stuff, it's not that you need to rework every habit within that. You just have to stop the scrolling before bed, right? You have to stop bringing your phone into your bedroom. And I could think of a million different examples of a lot of our habits that are just not the greatest, but it's just, I think too many people feel like they need to add in, when in reality, you just have to stop the thing that's got you to where you're at, which I know is easier said than done, but I feel like it's a lot easier when you actually break it down instead of thinking, oh, I need to now build 17 new habits to get into my fitness journey. It's like, no, I just need to stop these bad habits. And I feel like that's the easiest path forward. And then once you get the momentum of stopping those bad things and you start to feel like, oh, I'm actually making progress, it makes it easier to build in the new habits and rework new systems. So I absolutely love that. And hopefully that helps you in one way or another.
Yeah, I think that's a killer quote. And I think in particular, it's really easy to be ashamed with things that aren't serving us or that are taking us in the wrong direction. But to me, it's always nice to say, hey, like, if I fix this hole, like if I patch this hole, like I'm going to be unstoppable. Like that's directly going to lead me to growth. So it's hard and uncomfortable as it can be, like even if you have to have harsh talks with yourself. And some common examples I see are like not pushing yourself hard enough in the gym, which we'll talk about, skipping workouts, really blowing out the weekends, mislogging or not tracking your calories at all. Like if these things are happening, like these are just some examples, or something completely separate from that, staying up, not getting the sleep you need, you know that's directly hurting you. It's not serving you. That's getting you to where you are now, which is, I'm guaranteeing you, not where you want to be, because I'm sure all of us want to do better, improve. And I know there are some people that are absolutely just killing it. If you're killing it, keep doing the things that are helping you kill it. But that is an awesome quote. And I think even just getting into that reflection again, it's never easy doing that work, like getting in there saying, okay, what am I doing wrong? how can I improve it? It's going to be uncomfortable. Like letting go is never a fun thing either, especially when you're in a habit of something. I think it's hard to recraft that, but I do think that is an awesome quote. But now we're going to jump into our second question, which we're really excited about. And once again, I guess I didn't let Kyle talk too much about the challenge, but this challenge was such a success. So shout out to all of our clients who jumped in, who crushed it, who pushed themselves for 30 days. And our challenges are different because we don't aim for them to be restrictive. We aim for them to be reflective. So an example, one of the criteria was no drinking for 30 days. And some clients chose to do it. Some clients said, I'm not going to do this challenge, I'll pass out. But our goal is for people to critically look at like where they can say, okay, I don't need it. I can step back from it. Because I think a lot of people on default would just say like, oh, I need a drink. I need to do this thing. Another criteria was hitting your protein and calories every single day. And that forced a lot of clients to say, hey, like, how am I going to win this barbecue? Like even my client, Jeremy, he mentioned, he's like, it's hard. He's hosting this barbecue. He's always really enjoyed this time. It's always been a thing, but he did it. He had success. He had a good time, and he found a way through that. And I think that's where also sometimes where you know you can improve, you can do this a little bit of an intensive. You can do like a little monk mode where you really lock into your principles. You start going to the gym a little bit longer than you normally want to, so you can back off at it and say, okay, I could do this thing. So I think that's where challenges are really fun, and that's where we like hosting them, because they're a really good opportunity to push yourself and really build some momentum into summer. And like, we're posting so many amazing transformations. Like I wish everyone could be a winner, like, and everyone is a winner, because everyone who actually completes it gets a t-shirt, like an earn not given t-shirt. The last one literally said earn not given. This one says Summer Shred 26, which is sick. But like, we are only giving them if you crush that criteria, you challenge yourself. And I think there's just something fun about overcoming that challenge. And I mentioned before the concept of like a misogi. I forget which culture it is, but it's where you do something so hard once a year that the rest of the things you do seem easy and insignificant in relation to it. And I think with a challenge too, when you do something tough, you're like, I can hit my calories, protein all day, no issue. I can get my workouts in. I can do these core tenets that push me to my results with sustainability, with excitement. Like, I've shown myself, no matter the situation, I can succeed with it.
Yeah, it's been absolutely incredible. You know, we had somewhere around 70 to 75 fully completed, amazing transformations. And yeah, we'll make that post. I think we can only do 20 in the first one, but I'm sure you'll see a lot more of them. And I'm just so proud, like every one of our amazing clients. I've even got the criteria in front of me, like what we had done, which was no alcohol or cheat meals, 10,000 steps, hit calories and protein, and hit all workouts. And I feel so good about it. And I know that if every single person follows this, even if it's not perfect, they will be fully transformed. You'll notice we have nothing about taking supplements. We have no fad things in here. We just have the basics. And this is what every single person needs, instead of the fancy, shiny object thing, or like the fasted cardio they're going to do, or just something crazy. Like a marathon's great, but you don't need to do that. If you follow this and you stick to it for longer than 30 days, let's say towards 60, you will be absolutely unstoppable. And I've been talking a lot about habits as I started rereading Atomic Habits Before Bed as well. And it's funny because this past week, like after the challenge, I just remember it was like 5 p.m. My steps were a bit lower, and I just literally went on autopilot. Like I didn't even think about it. And I was like, I've got to get 10,000 steps. It wasn't even like the challenge is done. I didn't even realize the challenge was done, but because I did it for 30 days, it was just something that felt so natural. And I think so many people struggle because they don't get themselves to build the momentum. They don't build the habits. They do 10,000 steps 2 times a week. And then it's not really a thing. It's kind of an option. And so when you do this intensive and you say, I'm going to do this and I'm going to just go all in, like Josh said, the misogi, it's so powerful. And it becomes second nature. It becomes habitual. Subconsciously, you just start doing all this great stuff. So amazing to see. I'm excited to keep up the criteria. I'm not letting, my foot off the gas, and I'm proud of every one of our clients more than anything.
Now we're going to reach back into the mailbag, and hey, if you want to join as a client and you want to get the accountability, and the reason we get such good transformations, like I'm sure some of you will want to take that criteria Kyle said. You want to go implement it. You want to try it. It's so much different when you have someone holding you accountable to it. When you have someone checking in, looking at your macros, seeing the check boxes, making sure everything syncs up, pushing you, helping you really with these things that seem insurmountable or difficult. So we would love to have you join the program. It is never too late. Summer is a phenomenal time to come in here because you deserve to feel your best in summer. You can learn more about our coaching program at our website, colossusfitness.com, the top link. It's also a great resource for the podcast. If you want to submit a question, that's the easiest way to do it for Mailbox Monday. So go check out our website, poke around there. We just totally redid it. You can learn a lot more about the coaching. You can see more content, more transformations, and why it will ultimately ultimately help you no matter your situation, no matter where you're located. Me and Kyle will be on your team to get you the results you deserve. But now we're going to jump back into the mailbox, and this is a fun question. I love fruit, but everyone says sugars will make me fat and that it's bad for me. How much is too much? And is it bad to eat fruit when trying to lose weight?
This is a great one. I've heard so many things. I've heard carrots are bad for you. I've heard watermelon's bad. I've heard coaches literally say bananas are going to make you fat. And I'm like, this is just crazy. Some people just have no idea what they're saying. It's just insane. If you have pineapple, it's going to go right to your hips. Believe me when I say it, I have heard absolutely everything. The thing that a lot of people need to realize is there is a very clear difference. Like, I love ice cream. Don't get me wrong. I know for a fact that the ice cream is something I can overeat on. I know there's zero nutritional benefit. It hits my craving, and then that's it, really. When I look at other foods such as my bananas, such as the fruit that I have in my breakfast every single morning, the blueberries, the strawberries, the raspberries, there's so many nutritional benefits, the antioxidants, the fiber, just so many great things for your health. And what I will say is it's very, very, I don't think there's anybody I know, like, at least personally speaking, that will overeat on fruit. But the thing I have to say is that it is also easy for it to add up, right? Especially because there's different things like Weight Watchers, for example, where they say we don't count fruit or veggies as like a point, right? So it'd be like 0 points. So once again, it can be good in the sense where it forces you to eat good foods, but it definitely does add up. And even when you think about it, something like a pineapple is very different than a strawberry, right? Strawberries, you can fill up the entire bowl and it will be still, way less calories. Pineapple, for example, I could end up having quite a few hundred. So anything out of moderation, if you were to have a pineapple a day, 13 apples and 12 bananas, absolutely, that's way too many calories. That's just going to fill you. It's just you're not going to be feeling good afterwards. So that's the thing I'll have to say on that. But I would say, like, for fruit, it's just, to me, one of the best bang for your buck, right? When it comes down to it, I believe protein, of course, is going to be the best. It's going to fill you up. There's so many amazing benefits. Veggies are very, very low calories for the most part, and just obviously so many different health benefits. And then fruit, another amazing option. So yeah, I just want to kind of share my thoughts on that. I just think a lot of people demonize it. They look at it as it's bad because of the sugar, but there's just, you can't think that way, because to me, it's just so many different benefits.
Yeah, Kyle nailed that. And I think anything too much is bad for you. Even in, like, moderation is key. And what I mean by that is you will die if you drink too much water, which is crazy, right? Like, no one's really going to do that unless they're forced it, but they're having cases with like hazing and frats and stuff with water, which is crazy, right? Because you come to think, like, how could water ever be bad? So I think with anything, there's always, like, some people will go to such extremes. And I've seen people with this mindset, like Kyle said, like, oh, fruits and veggies don't count, but they'll just end up replacing the deficit they're in from other foods with fruits and veggies. And then you'll end up at maintenance again. And maybe you're quote unquote eating healthier foods. And of course, there's sugar considerations with fruit. People get all worried about sugars and having way too much. And I think the problem is too, like, fruit gets such a bad rap because people will see sugar as why they're gaining fat. But sugar is not why you're gaining fat. You're gaining fat because you're overeating. You're in a surplus. And fruit does have sugar. But just the same, if you're having a can of Coke or you're going out and you're having ice cream or cake, like, you're going to have way more sugar than you will from your fruit, right? And once again, there's the natural and unnatural sources. But at the end of the day, sugar, calories are calories. So I think people get so in the weeds about these, and they'll make quick assumptions and say, yeah, I can't eat fruit because it has sugar, because it's carbs, because there's not protein. But fruit to me is like the best dessert. Like, fruit is a phenomenal dessert. Like, to me, there's no better feeling when you're in a beach or you're in a sunny area and you order a massive bowl of fruit and you're just eating grapes and melon and cantaloupe, and just, it feels so good. You're getting a lot of fiber, you're getting a lot of nutrients, which is amazing. So I just feel like you're getting a lot of bang for your buck. And I actually make a habit to try to eat more fruits. Like Kyle said, there's a lot of positive correlations between things like blueberries and brain health and different things. So you're going to get a lot of benefit from actually eating fruits, and they're not going to make you fat. They'll make you fat if you use a ton of extra fruit to put you in a surplus. But once again, if you're tracking your calories, you're going 80-20, I would still put this in the 80. Now, there are exceptions. If I'm having a ridiculous amount, or if I'm eating a whole pineapple or something that's making a bulk of my diet, that is when I would look to reevaluate it. But even like bananas are like one of my favorite pre-workouts. I say this to my clients quite a lot, actually, because you're getting like a nice ingestible injection of carbs, you're getting quick glycogen, simple sugars that you can actively use in your workout. You're also getting potassium, which is phenomenal for pumps. So you're getting a lot of benefit from something really easy to package, really easy to eat, really easy to digest. So I think like anything, it has a purpose. It's the same with like protein is phenomenal. Most people need to eat more protein. Some people do eat too much protein. If you're eating like triple your body weight of protein, like that is not necessary at all. Same with fiber. Fiber is so good for helping you with digestion, with helping you feel regulated. But when you have too much of it, it has an inverse effect and it can actually constipate you. So I think that's where you just got to limit extremes. You can enjoy fruit. Like if you want to have an apple and a banana and a couple of grapes, like good on you. Do you need to be having a whole pineapple and 8 bananas and 6 apples every day? Probably not. But I don't think most people would be as driven to do that. Whereas it's easier to do that if there's cupcakes on Kyle's counter here. It's very easy to have 6 cupcakes because they taste so good. The sugar rush is like that much more intensive than fruit. And that's where I feel like you can start to rework and say, maybe I have a bit of a sweet tooth. I'm going to start replacing that with fruit. That's how you can actually improve the quality of your diet, which will actually help you keep your calories lower. It'll help you feel more satiated because once again, it's going to be less caloric. It's going to have more nutrients, more fiber. So it's going to have you more full. It'll help you be in that deficit to lose more weight.
And even let's use the barbecue as an example. Let's just say you're like, you know what? I'm feeling generous. You know, it's a bring your own thing. I'm going to bring a whole watermelon. I'm going to share it with everybody. Let's just say no one wants your watermelon. You're going to start having it and you're like, I'm going to make the right decision here. You get to about 80 calories of watermelon. There is a very high chance I'm just going to be like, okay, I'm pretty good here. I'm pretty full. You know, it's filled with a lot of water. It also satisfied my sweet tooth craving because it's like kind of nice and sweet. You're out on a nice hot day. Amazing. You get to 100 calories. You're like, oh my God, I just can't have any more. Like, does anyone want some? Whereas the dip example, like I'll get to 800 calories and I'm like, I just want more. And then it just starts a trend to like talking about, you know, barbecues and habits. It's like, it's easy to start with one thing and it just allow it to spiral. Whereas something like the fruit, I know it's a random example, but it's like, it just fills you up. Like you can try it. Like you can fill up an entire bowl, put blueberries in there, strawberries, watermelon. Hey, put pineapple in there as well and see how far you get. If you're like really hungry, I promise you it'll be a very, very big difference compared to even Ben and Jerry's. Like I could have the 1,000-calorie tub, no problem. And then I'll somehow probably want more because I've just gone down that path. Whereas when you fill up with fiber and some of that good stuff, it is a very clear difference in terms of satisfaction, what it does to your body, how you feel. So yeah, I thought that was a great point. And don't be afraid of fruit as long as it fits within your calories. Make sure you're hitting your overall calories and you'll be good to go.
And that's a fun question. I would like to say there are no dumb questions. If there's something you're unsure of, like ask it. I guarantee you someone else is thinking it. And like there's so much nuance to every question, right? And that's where like you could say, is fruit bad? And I could say, yeah, it's horrible for you if it's all you eat, right? Because you're missing other nutrients, you're having way too much like in just one area concentration. But for the most part, I would say no, fruit is good for you. Eat more fruit, right? But that's where like this context matters so much. And that's where I love questions framed in certain ways and some of these beliefs. And yeah, some like old school like physique coaches are just crazy and will ban certain veggies and have you only eating sweet potato because it's the best or whatever. Like, so it's kind of crazy, right? And I think it's kind of fun breaking down these things. And our goal is not just to give you answers, but to help you understand why, to understand the context, to understand how you can do this stuff sustainably and where it will fit in your life. So that was an awesome question. We're going to quickly jump into our third one of the day, which is how can I know if I'm pushing myself enough in the gym?
Yeah, there's a lot of things to look out for. It's always just going to come down to, are you pushing close to failure, right? It's not about pushing to failure. It's like for every single set and every exercise I do, am I at a point where I'm genuinely challenging myself? And we all know those days where, you know, some days I'm texting too much, I'm distracted, I'm talking too much. I know I didn't push myself. But then there's the days where I know, like, even at the end of the set, what I will say is if you feel like you could do so many more, or if you're talking, or if you're like just not challenged, it's just, to me, not ideal. And like I was talking to Josh beforehand, if you were to be at the very end of the set and you start to shake a little bit, right? Let's say you're doing a quad extension, whatever it is, you start to really feel like you're making a weird facial expression, you're shaking a little bit. You're feeling like I cannot jump into a next set right away. I actually really need my rest. that is the best way to approach it. Like that's how you know that you're pushing yourself. That's how you know you're challenging yourself. The truth is, it's not what a lot of people think it is. People think they're challenging themselves when they take no rest, when they do burpees in between their sets. Like they kind of do a lot of the wrong stuff. If you get and within your program, you get to that, last 2 reps, or you're prescribed 8 to 12 reps, and like you're on your final 2, whatever exercise, and you're like, holy, that was tough. Like if you can say that every single set, you are absolutely in a really good spot. If half of the workout you can say that, you're probably leaving quite a few gains on the table. If none of it and you just showed up, like to me, that's not ideal, and you're not wasting your time, but like you can do a lot better, right? So I would say just gauging the intensity at the end of the sets and how focused you are is like the best way to approach it. I can talk about a million different things, but if you're just not doing that, then you're leaving a lot of progress on the table.
Yeah, I love Kyle's answer because ultimately that's what it comes down to. And you might fix it, but what's really important is you consistently reevaluate it. Like I even mentioned, it's so easy to fix it, to push, and then to get a little complacent and to plateau at that number when you do have more to give. So to me, it's always about testing and trying. Try adding 5 pounds, and it might not happen, it might not work, it might be too heavy. You're not going to die as long as your form's good, as long as you're smart and you're not being a bro and adding 80 pounds. That's why you're doing an incremental increase. If I'm supposed to do 8 reps, I only get 7. I go, shoot, that was too heavy. That's okay. I drop that weight back down. I know I'm not quite there yet. Maybe I'll try again in a few weeks. And you shouldn't be scared to try and test and see. And I think a lot of us will be so scared, especially on hypertrophy movements where the cost is very low. And what I mean by that is squat, if you add too much weight and you fail and you don't know how to fail properly, it can be scarier. So I understand where people will stay further away from the weight they should be using because there is more fear. But if you're doing something like a bicep curl and you do a little less reps, you're going to be okay as long as you're not heaving your back or doing something insane. So that's where you want to be smart, especially with your hypertrophy movements. You can be a little bit more cautious with squat, deadlift, or bench, especially if you don't have a spot. But in general, I would really encourage you, and one thing I recommend to my clients a lot is try increasing all your lifts by 5 pounds. You might be amazed that you can actually increase bulk of them and only a couple you can't. And right away, you're going to be unlocking more results for you because those incremental gains will add up so much more. You can get more breakdown. And like Kyle said, if you're bringing your full focus, you'd be amazed at how much more you can lift as well.
Yeah. And even like today's workout, for example, Josh added on more weights for the calves. Like every time at the end, I was like, holy, like that was tough. Like leg press, sometimes we'll do it and I'm just like, okay, I need a sec to stand up or else I'm going to be, just maybe lightheaded. Like there's little things even like on a barbell squat where I'm like, okay, I need to sit down for a sec. Like you don't have to get crazy. And once again, you obviously have to be aware of like your limits and stuff. But like I said, the biggest telltale is just how do you feel after? If I'm like, hey dude, like I need another 2 minutes on the barbell squat, like I know I've challenged myself. If I'm like, all right, cool, like let's just keep going, or there's not that little effect at the end, I really think that's a telltale. Like if you're able to just stand up and be like, all right, keep talking, keep running around, go do this. Like you can kind of tell like you're not exactly challenging yourself. And it was basically just to be a little bit scared of the weight. And that's kind of how I've been feeling as I've been really tracking my weights, trying to increase it. Even lat pull downs yesterday, I've been really trying hard to improve it. So every time I'm about to get into it, I'm feeling a little bit nervous. I'm feeling kind of scared because I'm like, this is intense. Like whereas in the past, sometimes I'd just be like 140, 140, 140. Now I'm pushing towards 180 to 200, depending on the lat pull down. I'm like, I'm kind of scared of this weight. Like that's a good sign. That's a good feeling. So that is a good reminder I wanted to share with you as like my last tip for challenging yourself in the gym.
All right. Well, thank you for tuning in. I think this was an awesome summer-filled episode. And once again, if you're struggling, if you're unsure, if you want to take your results to the next level, if you're tired of settling for less and not feeling your best this summer, I want to work with you one-on-one. Head over to my website, ColossFitness.com. Check it out. Submit an application. Make sure we're a great fit, and I will get you the results you deserve no matter where you're at. Once again, thank you for tuning in. If you love this episode, if it was helpful, if you could share it with a friend, share it to your story, really share it anywhere, it'll really mean the world because it'll help more people get it, help less people struggle, and most importantly, help more people become fit, healthy, and happy. But we'll see you in the next episode. Peace out.
But it's just really that mentality of like going in with that plan.
I assure you that for any event, any situation, you can find a way to win.